What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Deb and I do makeup tutorials. So jumping right into the video, I'm going to be carving out my brows using the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Deep Honey. And now I'm also going to be prepping my eyelids for eyeshadow application using the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Soft Ochre. For today's eye look, I'm going to be using the Crown Pro palette and taking the second shade on the bottom right row. I'm going to be using a Morphe 332 blending brush to apply that into my crease. Next, taking the two darkest shades on the bottom row, I'm going to be applying that into my crease as well using a Morphe 200 blending brush. Now taking my Morphe 222, I'm going to be dipping that into the darkest shade on the bottom right corner, and I'm applying that into my crease and my outer V. And into my crease, I'm using that to sort of draw a line in the crease, and then later on I'm going to be carving my crease out with a shader brush. Going back to my Morphe 200 blending brush and the first transition shade, I'm just going to be applying that above the crease shade to diffuse any harsh lines. Now I'm going in with that light brown shade on the top row on a Morphe 204 brush, and I'm going to be applying that to the crease. And like I was saying earlier, I'm going to be using this brush to carve out the crease. So it's a soft glam look today. So we're not going to be using like an eyeshadow primer to carve out the crease. We're just going to be using eyeshadow to do so. And I'm also taking a Morphe 416 brush, which is a smaller shader brush, to really get into that crease area and make it nice and crisp. Now dipping back into the darkest shade on the bottom row on a Morphe 209 brush, I'm going to be taking that and applying it between the outer V and the lighter shade that I applied to the lid to diffuse it and give it some dimension. And I'm also going to be using that shade to deepen the crease and the outer V. Going back into that light beige shade on the top row on a Morphe 416 brush, I'm just going to be using that to clean up the lid area underneath the crease and make sure that both eyes are even. And then going back in with my Morphe M209 brush with the middle shade on the bottom row in the palette, I'm just going to be applying that in between the lid shade and the outer V color. To hydrate my face before applying foundation, I'm going to be using the Mario Badescu facial spray and the Ordinary's hyaluronic acid serum. And for moisturizer, I'm going to be using the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel. To seal all that moisture in, I'm taking 2 to 3 drops of any facial oil and just applying that to my skin. And for primer, I'm using Benefit's Porefessional, and I'm trying to focus majority of that product on the center of my face, like around my nose area. That's where I notice my pores are the largest, so I like to put majority of the product there. For foundation today, I'm using Becca's Ultimate Coverage 24-Hour Foundation in the shade Espresso, and I'm taking a damp beauty blender and I'm just pouncing that into my skin. Now I am applying the product one side at a time, so I'll apply it on one side and I'll blend it out because this product does dry quickly, so you have to move fast while using it to get the best coverage. And I did forget to apply a color corrector, so I will be applying another layer around my mouth area. So this coverage is really good. It is really ultimate coverage foundation. For concealer, I'm going to be using the Marc Jacob's Accomplice concealer in the shade Tan 49, and I'm applying that to the bridge of my nose, on my forehead, above my brows, on my chin, and underneath my cheekbones. Now to highlight, I'm going in with the shade Tan 46, and I'm applying that on the bridge of my nose and my forehead because your girl likes a highlighted forehead. I want that light to bounce off my forehead, girl. For nose contour, I'm going in with the Morphe Dimension Effect Contour Stick in the shade Effect 19 on a Morphe M420 brush. And I'm applying the lines on the sides of my nose, starting from my brow and drawing them all the way down. Now taking that same brush, I'm going to start blending those lines out, going on the sides of my nose, like blending them down onto the sides of my nose so that it gives it that shadow effect. To conceal my under eyes, I'm going back to the Marc Jacob Accomplice Concealer in the shade TN49, and I'm just applying that in a upside down triangle under my eye area, blending it out with a damp beauty blender. I'm also going to be dragging this concealer over the nose contour to diffuse it and make sure it's not so harsh. Now, I do like my under eye area a bit bright, so I'm going to be applying the same concealer in the shade TN46 to the inner portion of my under eye area just to brighten that area up a little bit more. And this one is not getting blended over the nose. We're just going to leave that right under the eyes in the inner corner. For cream contour, I'm mixing that Morphe stick with the Anastasia Beverly Hills cream contour kit in the shade Deep. Using the shade Carob on a stippling brush, like a little mini stippling brush. I'm going to spray the stippling brush first to get it moisturized, and then mixing it with the Anastasia's Carob. And the lightest pressure goes a long way, like really just like light pressure. You're feathering the product into the skin. And now I'm just going over everything with a damp beauty blender to blend it in and make sure everything's nice and seamless. To set my under eye area and my T-zone and around my mouth, I'm using the Becca's Hydra Mist Set and Refresh Powder in the shade Golden Bronze. And after I apply the powder, I'm going to let it sit for just a little while, not too long. I'm not baking. I just want to set my face. I'm going to be brushing that away with like a stippling brush. To set my nose contour, I'm going in with the Morphe's Glamabronzer in the shade Leader on a Morphe M330 blending brush. And I'm just using that to go over the lines that I drew with the Morphe contour stick earlier in the video. Now I'm just taking a beauty sponge and applying setting powder down the sides of my nose, and I'm going to be taking a shader brush and blending it up into the nose contour, if that makes sense. You could just watch what I'm doing because it is a little bit difficult to explain, and everybody does have a different nose shape. So what I do for my nose shape might not work for your nose shape. And plus I've also been practicing different nose contours for nose shapes, so I'm still learning how to, you know, describe the details. So you could just watch. To bronze my face, I'm using Morphe's bronzer in the shade Leader and any angled fluffy brush, and I'm applying that to the temples of my forehead, my cheekbones, and my jawline. Now going back to my Morphe 330 brush, I cleaned it off in my quick change, and I'm going over the nose contour again just to diffuse it on the inside where I drew the lines and to make it as seamless as possible. For blush, I'm going to be using Laura Mercier's blush in the shade Grapefruit, and I'm applying that to the apples of my cheeks, and I'm pulling it back in with my contour. Now going in with MAC Studio Fix powder on a beauty sponge. I'm just going to use that to clean up underneath my contour line. Now I'm just spraying my face with the Urban Decay De-Slick setting spray. And for highlighter, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills So Hollywood highlighter, and I'm applying that with a Morphe fan brush. Now I'm just using a detailed brush to highlight the bridge of my nose using the same Anastasia Beverly Hills So Hollywood highlighter. To save time in the video, I did my brows off camera, and for those products, they will be listed in the description box below. Now going into the lightest shade on the top row in the palette, I'm going to be using that to highlight my brow bone on a Morphe M416 shader brush. And now I'm using that same shade on a pencil brush to highlight my inner corners. Now for eyeliner, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Line Stiletto eyeliner in the shade The Blackest Black. And before I apply my eyeliner, I like to uncurl my natural lashes because my lashes, they kind of over curl. So in order for me to do my line on my mascara or apply my lashes, I usually like to uncurl them. So if you have that same issue with the over curling lashes, then try this trick and see if it works for you. And now I'm just using a black Kohl eyeliner to tightline. Going back to the first transition shade in the palette, I'm using a Morphe 431 pencil brush to apply that to the lower lash line. Now I'm taking my NYX eye pencil in the shade dark brown to smudge that underneath the lower lash line, and then I'm going to be going back into the palette using the darkest shade that we used on our outer corner, and we're also going to be dragging that along the lower lash line as well. Before I apply my lashes today, I'm just going to be applying a couple coats of the L'Oreal Telescopic mascara in the shade Carbon Black. And for lashes today, I'm going to be using the style Millennial Pink by Envy. And I have to say, guys, I have not stopped using these lashes since I got them. They're very inexpensive and they are real mink lashes. And you can get them from the beauty supply store. So they're great dupe for some of the other mink lash brands out there. And now I'm going to be curling my lashes along with the false lashes. And I do this before I apply my lashes while they're before I take them out, after I take them out the packaging, and I do it while they're on as well to give them that nice fluffy curled look. And then I also just use a little comb to separate them, and I'm also applying some mascara as well to make them nice and fluffy, you know, make them sexy. For my lip combo, I'm going to be using the MAC lip liner in the shade Chestnut, along with the MAC lipstick in the shade Touch. And on top of that, I'm going to be applying the Nars oil infused lip tint in the shade Primal Instinct. And now I'm taking Anastasia Beverly Hills lip gloss in the shade Sparklelava. And this is the final look, you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you if you're still here, by the way, because I know this video was a bit long. And, you know, I hope you stick around. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the thumbs up. You know, drop a comment, all that good stuff. And I will see you in my next video.